Okay, here we go. We're back on the Datsun. You can see that some things are happening. Not very much so far, but the wheels are off. Okay, hold on a second. Let's turn this radio down. Okay, so plan today is to make some throttle linkage. The previous owner took it off and was nice enough just to get rid of it for me. So here we go. Look here. Basically, what you've got on this car. Datsun kind of went crazy with their linkage in the 70s, but this linkage comes through the firewall. You can see it hooks to this ball joint. Let's see if I can, oh, and then it turns this side over here. So this guy will move side to side, which is going to turn a lever that goes this way, which is going to twist a rod, which then, see here, is going to twist the throttle, which is in the frame, I believe, just like so. So what my job is to create a rod to go from here to the carburetor, which is going to be activated by this guy right here. So you get a better angle here. There it is right there. So we'll have a rod straight through here, an arm coming off of it this direction. Pick this up. This pushes in and twist my carburetor. Okay, so that's the plan. Okay, so I found a piece of rod. This is basically just 3/8 inch rod. Come from Lowe's. There's a tag on it in case you want to read the barcode. Anyway, so this rod's gonna end up, fits pretty almost perfectly right in this hole here. It'll fit a lot better when I trim it down and then can hit it with a better angle. I basically will put the rod through, it's like so, and then hang an arm off the edge of it. And I think I'm also going to try to grind down sort of a ball joint on the end of this rod. It's having a little trouble focusing to slip inside there. So this piece of rod will be both the ball joint and the connection between there and the carburetor. Then I'll just need an arm to go in between. So, wish me luck. Okay, here we are. I'll take the handy Harbor Freight micrometer, turned on of course. On. Oh no. The handy Harbor Freight micrometer doesn't work anymore. I guess we'll have to read the actual measuring marks on the thing. Okay, here we go. So, basically what we're doing is trying to replicate this little ball joint here. Oops, sorry about wobbling here. Okay, that guy right there. So we got, criminy, I don't even know how to read it without the battery working. That's sad. Okay, so it says here 3 and maybe a half. Boy, the thing has trouble. Anyway, okay. So what we've done over here with the rod is taken it and ground it to look like a ball. It's looking pretty good, but I need to measure it and make sure it fits the same as that one. At this point, it is just a touch big. So, more grinding. Got my ball joint made. Let's see, we've got, there she is. Some fancy grinding. Did a little polishing, a little cutting. And that'll weld onto the end of the bracket. My hands are dirty. Turned out pretty nicely. This is the bit of linkage that it goes into. So we'll just put that right in there, and then it'll do its thing. I'm not going to jam it all the way in there right now because it's hard to get back out. Anyway, so there we go. Move on to the next bit, which is building the rod to go in between. Okay, a little more progress. We got some linkage going on here. I've been fabricating, dinking around, trying to dig through all my parts bins so that I can find that'll work for me.
So I think I got some stuff. There it is. Okay, so I found this piece of metal here, and it's a good thing about it is it has sort of a oblong hole. So the rod that goes between the firewall and the carburetor, it's a very nice looking piece of rod. Had to grind it down so it was the wrong diameter to fit through the bracket, which is now off the car. So anyway, that goes through there, and the end of this, where's my, okay. The end of this is ground flat on two sides, sort of like a D. It's a little hard to see, but you can see it there. Anyway, so it goes in here, and, brilliant. This then, will go in here. Of course this piece, this rod goes through here, and then it'll spin. This piece will go in here, and it'll spin on there. Of course, it's going to need a lot of trimming, so it'll fit down in that little area of that bracket. Anyway, this bracket's stationary. This goes in there like that. At the end of this bracket, when it's done, we'll take our ball joint that we made earlier, weld it on there. So we'll have, this will be something more like this. Nice and svelte. Something like that. That'll be my new bracket. In theory. Okay, more parts. This one I just made. Found a little piece of, basically, I think that's about 3/4 inch square stock. And drilled a hole in it, cut it off. That, on the back of the carburetor here, you'll see this little fork, and this little guy goes right in there like that. Put a bolt through it, and then weld the rod on this end, and then back to the firewall, and we'll be able to twist this. This is all theory here. So if we put it all together over here on the bench, we've got this rod on the end of this rod, or this block on the end of this rod, which will turn, and then that'll run through there, and then using my fancy little bracket I drew up, which will pick up this here, and it'll turn it. Well, you understand. Well, this could be good, or it could be a massive failure. We'll find out. Okay. Alright, we got mock-up. My favorite part. Money shot. Alright, here we go. Okay, so there's the linkage. Here's the little dude. Basically, it's a good thing I did this because I found out that if you look at the end of that, if you hook this down here, the ball joint has to go on the back side of this, because that's the way that faces. I tried it over the other direction, this direction, and sure enough, I was planning on putting that ball joint to the front, and anyway, the point is that we're good to go. So this guy, let's see if I can do this with one hand while I hold the camera. Okay, so that's gonna go back and forth like that, as you already know. You can kind of see that little guy. Where is it? There we go. That guy's going back and forth socially, which is going to operate this guy like so. Anyway, the geometry is about right. This thing turns about 3/8 of a turn, maybe 30 degrees total. That looks like it's going to be about 30 degrees. Everyone's going to be happy. So now all I have to do is weld it together, measure the rod so it's the right length. Currently it's a bit long. Bolt it up, see what happens, see if it works. Okay, had it all welded together. You can see that. That's the knob that goes to the carburetor. You can see this piece, which is the rest of it. Totally forgot to clock it. I forget that this end is directional. It had to be set just right. So I had to cut it in half. It was like this. As you can see my two lines there. needs to be like this. So I'll weld this back together again, which shouldn't be too difficult, and hopefully catch that a lot better as far as travel and where it needs to start and end. So one more time with that. I almost got this baby licked. Licked? What? Okay, all welded. I went ahead and ground the weld just so people wouldn't suspect that I made such a stupid maneuver. Looked pretty good. The knob on the end is a wee bit crooked, not bad. Let's go give it a test fit here.
Alright, so you stick that in there. Wait one. Stick that in there. Okay, so that there, get a bolt right through that hole. This is really hot right here from the welding and the grinding. And that part back there, oh, looks pretty good. Missing a piece of linkage here. Let's get the other piece, which is now welded and trimmed. Right here. It's some pretty ugly welds, but definitely isn't going to fall off of there. Ooh, we're going over here. Okay, alright, so this guy slips on the back side of that. There's a little hole in there I drilled for a cotter key, which I'm not going to put in right now. But that is pretty much money. Let's see. Ow, that's really hot. God, all I got to do now is put the little rod on, which is here. Anyway, put this on. We should have linkage. We should have throttle. As soon as I dig that up from underneath the car.
Okay, here's what I want to sort of display here. This is my ball joint bracket that I made. Turned out pretty nice. We got full range of motion. Well, not full range, but we got some good motion this way. Doesn't want to fall apart this way. So yeah, it's good. Okay, this thing's done. It's good to go. Pretty excited about it. It's kind of my kind of project, dinking around, kind of trying to fabricate something, make something out of nothing. Anyway, here it is coming through the firewall. Added a crappy looking little bracket here. That's for the throttle return spring, which is pretty makeshift at this point. I might work on that a little bit more. Anyway, so you can see it's all hooked together and working. See over here, that's the new stuff. And that comes along this rod and actuates the carburetor. And even works from inside the car. And it even, you probably can't see it, but it actually, see here, it actually does open up both the primary and the secondary. So I took a little bit of a guess as far as the length of the geometry of this bracket, and it could have been longer or shorter, but the guess worked, so it's just right. And I am done with throttle. Next project.